Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Pipe Bomb Sessions here today. And man, I would say we had a fairly interesting week of WWE since we last spoke. Specifically, I definitely want to touch base on the fact that what happened on SmackDown in that main event of theirs between the triple threat for the women's, title seemed like I don't even know. A lot of people I see are blaming Nia Jax for the situation. Honestly speaking, I can see blame being put up on a lot of different parts. If I'm being 100% real with you guys, I mean, shit. Let's be real. That botch at the end of that match for that women's title, that was awful. First off, it was, at least it seemed like a 1, 2, 3. And then I guess Nia kicked out late. The ref didn't count to 3. And then Tiffy real quick went up and, delivered the world's prettiest moonsault to secure the official 1, 2, 3. But man, there's botches and then there's just blatant. Hey, I don't know what I'm doing out here. That's what it seemed like out of that main event. Man, I really think SmackDown has to pull their stuff together, guys. I don't know what's up with it, but damn, they gotta pull their shit together. If SmackDown's gonna be delivering this on a constant basis, they're in trouble because, man, we gotta get it together. I've been saying this. Let's mix it up, man. Let's get some of the women from Raw over to SmackDown. Let's get some of the tag teams from SmackDown over to Raw, because we are seeing over and over the same crap happen. And honestly speaking, I'm not really sure on if any of this is actually even worth any of their times. I mean, look what we're doing here, guys. What are we actually doing here? I'm honestly just in shock that. But anyways, right? Other moments of the show, of course, I think something I want to touch base on for sure is the fact that finally, we saw the return of all gas, no brakes. Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, is back. And who does he confront? One of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet in Drew McIntyre, the Scottish psychopath. This is a feud that I am definitely looking forward to. This is a feud that's going to be banger after banger, as Sheamus's good friend Sheamus says, right? Oh, man. And I'm just glad we got something going with Jacob Fatu. He was just gone for a little bit. Even myself was wondering, Leo, where's he been at? And good to see him back. Good to see him back. I feel like we kind of needed that type of guy just showing up. And I guess, just being the Samoan werewolf. On top of that, he occupies Drew for a little bit. And what makes this a little bit more interesting is the fact that where this is going to lead both men going forward. Maybe Drew gets a victory. Maybe Fatu gets a victory. Possibly, maybe this is how Fatu, I don't know, you never know. Maybe he gets recruited into the Bloodline. And things go from there. And yes, I am talking about the OG Bloodline with Roman and all those good guys, right? For all those 4 years that we enjoyed. Now, the reason why I even bring them up is the simple fact of how we saw Roman not only return on Raw in the main event, right? But more importantly, I thought Roman came out and he was ecstatic with his brother Jay, man. He was proud of him, dabbing him up, hugging him, things like that. Yeah, you run the place, we run the place. You trust nobody. We're seeing the same exact vibes of, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's right, the right hand man, Jay Uso, may be back very, very soon. I know Uso had this whole, babyface run. He still is kind of in the middle. He's still, in my opinion, more of a babyface than a heel, right? But of course, he's showing those heel tactics, especially with his brother sometimes in the backstage areas. I mean, this man just snaps at Jimmy, and then he calms back down once Jimmy starts getting a little upset. This is very similar to, like, the mind games that Roman played with Jay back in the day. And this is what makes me honestly believe this is the beginning planting of the seeds of the Usos back together on top, titles in hand. Roman back together on top, title in hand. In my opinion, this could really be just leading all in a giant circle for Roman to capture some gold once again, for the Bloodline to rule once again. I mean, hey, it's something we obviously are not accustomed to now, being about a year and some change out of the whole Bloodline saga, and anybody else gone. But still, man, I think this is very, very interesting. And Jimmy, of all people, has been interested and noticing it the most, for sure. I mean, you could just see from his facial expression, he's like, wait, what's going on here? And then he's thinking about, his brother, oh, wait, hold up. What is actually going on around here? And what are we doing, Oos? That type of deal, right? And obviously, perhaps this is why... I know this is a little off topic. Perhaps this is why they sent Sami over to SmackDown. Maybe they didn't want Sami Zayn involved in the Bloodline story either at all or just right now. They sent him over to SmackDown, so that doesn't really get in the middle. And now it's basically Jimmy fending for himself to try to convince his brother, Jay. And let's see how it rolls up. I fully expect next week on Raw to be more or less the same. The following week on Raw, again, being more or less the same, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's, really much doable. And let's just see. I'm very much interested to see if WWE is really going to pull the trigger and actually get the Bloodline back together and just have them rule. Because, of course, if they come back together, I don't expect them to just stay stagnant and dangling, middle and things like that. No way. They're gonna be on top. And they're gonna push the vision and Seth Rollins' vision out of the way. Speaking of Seth Rollins, now let's just say if Roman and the Bloodline were getting back together and they were going back after the titles, I fully expect him and his cousins to go after Rollins and the Vision and basically set that up, right? The reason why I say that is because, I think the whole Cody going after him, it would just not make sense for the time being. And we've already ran that. Of course, I did say a few months ago that I heard a rumor that they were planning on running it back. Roman versus Cody. However, you can't have Roman be the heel again. And I'm not too sure if Cody is actually going to turn heel. So, we're at a crossroads, ladies and gentlemen. What are we doing here? Unless the final boss is returning, who I also do not believe we will be seeing until at least the Saudi Arabia WrestleMania, right? If they are indeed paying that man to come back and just do a match and just hype him up, things like that, I fully expect him to show up then if he's going to get paid, right? It makes perfect sense to me. I don't know. Now, at the same time, if they are running the Cody Roman Reigns match, then let's say he does indeed hold it for a year, then maybe The Rock comes by and challenges him for that title. We get that type of little matchup. Maybe that's how things go about it. I'm not totally sure yet. I do think the Vision and Rollins are going to be involved, as I said previously. Now, speaking of the Vision, but specifically Seth Rollins. Now, this whole crown jewel matchup with Cody Rhodes, of course, we all know that Cody Rhodes has a much, much, much bigger advantage compared to Seth Rollins. That's, let's just be real, right? The only reason for that is because, well, Simple enough. Rollins has not beaten Cody Rhodes. He's 0-3, man. I mean, we've heard it. Everybody's heard it. Cody even brought up this week, like, hey, man, we were friends. Like, you helped me out against the Bloodline. What happened to that? What happened to that, Rollins? And Rollins ends up just telling him, like, lesser of two evils. It's, means to an end type of deal. I don't believe that BS. I think Cody is officially in Rollins' head. He's been in that man's head for about 2 weeks since his feud has started, which was pretty much right after WrestlePalooza, since they kind of confronted each other and kicked it off right there. So, in my opinion, this feud has been going on since then. And both guys, Cody Rhodes is taking this matchup as like, yeah, man, let's just see who's the better of the two of us. We're both at different spots of our career compared to where we were when he first returned to WWE. He was still on the chase. He didn't really hit the top of the mountain yet. And of course, when he did hit top of the mountain, as Cody Rhodes did acknowledge and say, who was there right next to him fighting the great battle, that was Seth freaking Rollins. And Cody, I don't think he said anything wrong when he did say Rollins with banged up knees, like, half broken of a guy right now, coming out here to basically wrestle his butt off for Cody and put on a massive WrestleMania. And honestly, he indeed was the MVP of it, man. He was awesome. But like, that whole feud and everything, just telling me that meant nothing. And like, now we're saying, like, you see Heyman right before the main event talk to Rollins in the back, and he's like, he must lose, and Rollins is like really locked in. He's telling Paul, like, hey man, don't worry about it. Like, he has to lose type of deal, And to me, it's like, okay, Rollins is getting desperate. So one of two things can happen. I still personally think Rollins does lose. I think Rollins gonna lose, and it's gonna be because of maybe a CM Punk, maybe even a Roman Reigns, but it's going to be off interference, maybe even an LA Knight. Rollins has a lot of enemies, so there could be ways to make Rollins look strong, but still have him continue the streak. In my opinion, you should have Rollins lose. Now, the reasoning behind Rollins losing is simple. You have Rollins lose, simple enough, he now has a forever rival, which, in my opinion, he already does, because he can't beat Cody. He literally can't. I mean, he's 0-3. In my opinion, he's going to go 0-4, and just leave this as, like, Rollins' kryptonite. Like, at one point, or at some point, maybe he overcomes it, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he truthfully doesn't. So I think in that sense, it's very, very interesting to look at, where WWE has a choice on their hands. They can do this, they can do that. I think it'd be really cool. Something that's not cool, just changes the topic of another matchup. The GOAT on his farewell tour, John Cena, is facing another GOAT in AJ Styles. We did indeed get the matchup. Who knows if it really was part of their plans, or did they listen to the fans? Was it just something they were hyping up? Honestly, I have no idea. And we probably won't know ever, because I feel like this farewell tour has gone up and down, to say the least, man. That's the nicest and easiest way I can put that. 1. 2, what's weird is the simple and utter fact that we got Cena and Styles going at it. 2 freaking awesome guys, right? And we wanted this. We don't get a single damn promo, man. I'd rather at least give me Styles saying something. Like, you're giving me a Styles promo randomly before a tag match on Raw? Like, come on, guys. Damn, that sucks. Like, this is where the John Cena date situation, I think, kind of faltered on itself, because in my opinion, yes, he did have a lot of dates, but at the same time, now we're coming to the end. This is where Cena really needs to build up his last couple of feuds, and you really can't have him do that. So the question now being is, what are you going to do, and where is this going to go type of deal, right? So I guess let's see. Let's see how it turns out and what happens with it. I am looking forward to the match nonetheless, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, as always, that is a wrap for today's episode. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I know that, there wasn't a lot of wild stuff going on in WWE. I feel like they've kind of hit the slow train just a little bit. Of course, we saw the OTC return on Raw, and we see him plant the seeds with Jay and like Jimmy looking on a little bit suspiciously, not too happy about what he's seeing because he's kind of seeing what he's seen before already. And maybe his brother don't see it. Maybe even Roman doesn't see it. But let's be honest. Roman's the type of guy who got plans, right? So he sees it. He knows what he's doing. Let's see how that story of the OG bloodline really unravels in the upcoming weeks. Oh, man. And honestly, guys, I appreciate all the love and all the subs and likes. As always, appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe and like this week, as always, and I will talk to you guys soon.